Look who we have here, beautiful people. We have Denise Ramon, wonderful channel and healer, and her information is in the description box below. Please click on it and check her out. And we have who she's going to channel was Erik, and we're going to do this is part 2 of the whole Israel conflict, Hamas conflict. And yeah, maybe there's some questions that Denise and Erik might not feel comfortable answering, and that's fine. So don't shoot the messenger. Okay. And
Really?
I think any of them were really bad. But these are all community questions from the community. So
okay.
All right. First of all, are there any other countries being affected by the Israeli-Hamas war?
Well, Erik says, hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, I love you. Oh my God, I forgot. I already said I love you. Just was session agenda. I thought that would cover us.
Well, I think he's just doing it to be silly because the way he goes, well, okay, well, hello, Mom. Okay. So, so the question is it affecting other countries, you said?
Yeah, beside Israel, I guess.
Erik says, yes, it is. He's saying, that kind of stuff isn't just isolated to just them. It does affect. He says it affects the whole planet.
I think so. Yeah.
He says because what it does is it also sets a tone because for fear, it sets fear, and even in the state that not the states, the countries that you wouldn't think it would set because it does raise the fear elevation. And when he's saying that, he's showing me like places like North Korea, places like China, places, and there's other countries that you wouldn't think. He says, yes, it raises the elevation of some fear. So yes, it does affect in that way, definitely. But he says, of course, it even affects here, everybody's on high alert, he said.
So will this escalate regionally, like Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, things like that? Or will it escalate globally?
He wants to address globally. He says, no, it won't escalate globally like that. I do feel like from what he's showing me, there will be protests going on.
There have been, yeah.
Okay. There will be that, and some more has more escalation to more energy behind it, more energy behind. Yeah, it's the way he showed me that. So there might be some that aren't peaceful, but I feel like there will be very vocal, is what he's showing me. But I do feel like it's not what I feel like; it's what he's showing me.
Yeah.
This will, the way he shows me, this will bubble over some into some of the other countries. Yes, because I feel like both sides will reach out for help, or both sides will be getting help offered to them from other places, and this is going to cause conflict, is what he shows me as well.
Yeah. Well, I know that southern Lebanon is casting missiles into northern Israel, but and I think that some of the U.S. military bases have been targeted with drones. But I don't know from him. It's like I try not to watch the news. I probably should. All right. So what's the next countries that will possibly get into the war after the Israel-Hamas and the Russia-Ukraine wars? Hopefully none. Jeez, that's enough.
Right. I agree with you. He does show me that there will be a few others joining he says the race. So I don't know why he's saying the race, but he's saying there will be some others joining. the way what he's telling me is like we don't. Shows us as in the U.S. well protected, you know, and I feel like the way he's showing me, it's like we may have a part in it somehow for humanitarian purposes or however we want to display it. And I feel like we will have input from some European countries helping in that way, helping to do that. He does tell me that because of that, there might be some backlash because it will look like we're taking sides.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
And that's Erik says it's not that we're taking sides. I feel like it's more of I feel like it's going to be more political. Like, look how wonderful this party is because they're helping out as opposed to this other party.
Is that why Biden went to the war zone? I mean, actually went to Israel? Or was he just, did he want to score points because he's not doing well in the polling? Or is it just like he wanted to show support? Or maybe a little bit of both. Who knows?
I didn't know he went, but I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So Erik says it was his duty as president to show up.
Okay.
Because it was his duty to because this is what you do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I don't know how safe we are. I mean, the border has been open and there's been so many on the terrorist watch list that have gotten into the country. Is this open border policy going to get us in the long run? I mean, cause a lot of harm? Will there be lone wolf attacks and all that kind of stuff? Will it be like major terrorist attacks? Or maybe we're not intended to know that.
Well, Erik says it's not major terrorist attack, you know, and this is a good example of how what's going on over there in Israel and the Hamas, is it Hamas?
Hamas, yeah.
Hamas. This is a good example because it raises fear. And so we start going, I'm wondering this because we start saying, well, because this isn't done, this is like this is, so this could happen. And then this helps start the creation of this.
It manifests an awful reality. So we shouldn't really get so absorbed in fearful thoughts then, right?
It's good. Well, he said, yes, it's good to have an awareness, but not let it grab you is what he's telling me. Will there be a large terrorist, population coming in and doing things saturated like because he says they want to know it's like, is it going to be saturated like how the not the cabal, the cartel is, in some in Mexico. Right. It's not going to be like that.
Okay.
But there will be some insider stuff, where people are doing things. It's like,
will it be like the Pulse nightclub terrorist attack, and I think it was in France? Will there be something like that here, or another 9/11, anything like that? It doesn't take many, terrorists.
He says it's not going to be another 9/11. It's not going to be that.
Okay.
But it's definitely going to bring more awareness to some of the things that are going on here.
Okay.
Is what he shows me.
Do you think that having such a porous border has been a mistake for our national security, at least? I mean, from a spirit's perspective.
Well, he says what it does is when you have it open, you can't, it's like, it's better to having narrow doors because people are able to have to check things as they come through. Now it's like he showed me, you got like one person checking and 100 people walking through.
Yeah.
So things aren't being checked.
Yeah.
But he says with that, either way you go, it's good for some and it's not good for others.
Of
He
course.
says it's not going to make people happy.
We need migrants, of course.
Yeah.
But we need to know who's coming across. Now, China, what's their thought now that this is happening? Are like, well, maybe we shouldn't, take over attack Taiwan, and it also was, or maybe they're saying, hey, we should do it. Or what is Russia and China's change in perspective, if any, now?
He shows me it's like China has like taken not the very back seat, but like the second or third row to this stuff with Taiwan.
Okay.
And the way he's showing me, it's like they're waiting to see how all this other stuff plays out, because you can't get much, he says, momentum behind you when there's a lot of action going on.
Yeah.
And I guess support is what he's showing me, the support and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what he's showing. It's kind of like taking the second or third row.
Yeah.
seat.
What about Russia? Have they changed their mind or perspective about, reconstituting the USSR or anything
No,
like that?
no,
Okay.
no.
All right. Has America secretly funded Iran to fight against Israel? Don't shoot the messenger, okay, people? Obama era funded Iran millions of dollars, and our current president funded Iran $6 billion. Actually, they just unfroze their assets. On September 11th, on a prisoner release. Was the funding date of September 11th purposely selected to coincide with the Twin Towers attack? Anyway, have we been funding Iran? And I heard from someplace that our government has actually given money directly to Hamas itself. I don't know if that's true or not, but what are we doing to perpetuate this horrible situation, if anything?
Erik shows me how we can help out people by not just giving them weapons or whatever. We can help out by funding something that they're needing, and this allows them to get funding or do whatever. So the way Erik has shown me, I'm getting more of an indirect, yes, we are funding them in a more indirect way.
All right. Well, money is fungible. So, I mean, if they gave them unfroze $6 billion, Iran could think, well, that's $6 billion that we're supposed to use for humanitarian aid. Now we don't have to do humanitarian aid, so we can, allocate $6 billion to Hamas and Hezbollah and stuff.
Correct. So Erik says, in an indirect way, we're supporting them.
Okay.
Is
it a coincidence that the funding date was September 11th? I didn't know that.
No.
Oh, wow.
It's not a coincidence.
Why?
Because they knew what they were doing when they asked for all of this. It was all planned. It's like symbolic. Like,
I got it.
Yeah.
But Iran, does the not Iranian people, but do the mullahs hate us a lot, or is it just hyperbole?
Erik shows me it's really not. It's a small group within them that don't like us.
Yeah.
Because he says, for the most part, a lot of them welcome the United States and other countries because they know that we're a big contributor, a big helper for them. We help them in some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What is the best way to handle Iran from this perspective of spirit, Erik? I mean, because they are funding all these proxy wars, these terrorists, and they claim they are too. So
what's the best way?
Yeah, do we bomb the nuclear facilities? I don't know if even that's possible. There's so far, or do we actually enforce the sanctions and stop the oil flow so they don't make so much money to give away to these terrorist groups? What do we do?
Well, Erik says, yeah, we're getting something from it. So that's why we keep the doors open. And so this is why this goes. So it's like, oh, we know we have what you want. So then we keep enabling them to do things because we want, it's not we enable them, we keep allowing things to happen because we get something from it.
What do
You
we get?
know, like you said, the oil and just anything that we get promises about stuff so that we can go do other things.
Oh,
Eric's showing me like sideways we do things that we're not even privy to,
mm.
the public per se. So when he says we, the government, I'm going to just say the government, whoever falls into that bucket, they know exactly what they're doing because otherwise we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. But we keep getting something in return, and that's why we don't have firm boundaries of no, we're not going to do this, and if you want to cut this off, go ahead, we'll find another way because we have a lot of resources.
Yeah, I mean, we were energy independent before, but now is it like, oh gosh, we Iran is going to have to sell us some oil so that the price of gas and goods won't go up so much, and then we'll lose the election. Is it that kind of thinking? Is that's what they're getting from Iran?
Some, but Erik says there are other ways to have fuel, and we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that because he's telling me this is about control, is what it is. It isn't about, oh, well, we want to make sure that the American people or the European people or whoever is, that they have enough and so we don't run low. Erik says it's not really about that. It really isn't.
Wow. Okay. Is it true the Antichrist will come forth from this war? If so, who is he? Ew. I don't even know what the Antichrist is, but it sounds like the devil.
Well, what Erik is saying, what that person intended, Erik says no.
Okay. Does Iran, is it developing nuclear stuff because they want energy power, or do they intend? Is there a true intention to create a nuclear weapon?
It's not it's all about power. It's about it's about control, wanting to be.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of countries that have nukes. So a lot of people say, well, who are we to say that they can't? Well, I won't want them to have it because, there's so much hate in
Erik says
powers
it's kind of like
in Iran. So it's kind of
scary. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm done.
Erik says, and I don't want to say it, but so I'm just repeating. He says it's kind of like some people that have the short man syndrome or women, and they go buy these huge trucks and they keep getting bigger trucks because they want to be bigger. And he says it's like this. They want to be on the top. And it's not just Iran. There's other countries.
Oh, yeah.
Helping Iran to do this. So they're like fueling stuff to them to help them. It's like they're being backed up by some other countries that I don't even, the way Erik shows me, it's like they're in hiding, like we wouldn't even think that they're helping them.
Oh, boy. Well, we probably are not supposed to know, right? I mean, it might be too dangerous to develop.
I don't, yeah. And Erik says, because it's like these other countries, and I feel like they're little countries, but they're helping to fuel Iran, because if Iran conquers or whatever it is over Israel, then that's one less thing that those other little countries have to worry about. But what they don't realize is when you empower a bad seed, it just spreads. And it's like, it's not going to help the other people because you've empowered them. And now they're like, now they can take over your little spots
too.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a conflict and fighting in the Middle East because of the energy of the land there, I guess not energy like oil, how did the land get the energy of the conflict? That's a really good question. I mean, are there like negative entities and all sorts of weird stuff? I mean, what's going on with the energetic component of the land there?
Well, Erik says that he shows me there are portals in these places.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of places where there are having conflict. And the higher beings, the whatever you want to call them, the higher ups, it's not higher ups, the
Powers that be?
powers that be.
Okay.
They know that there are these portals there. And I feel like those people are like, it's like there's layers to it, because it's like no one knows everything. It's like this one knows something, and then Erik shows me, then this one knows everything that this one knows, and then there's another one that knows everything up here and what this one knows. So it's like a safety measure, but
wow,
somehow that they know that there's portals there, and these portals are it's like he's showing me, like, and they're in different parts of the world. These are the keys to, I feel like the way he shows me, it's like the explosion of abundance, you know, like the key to things that are going on. And if they can keep those portals hush hush, then you and I don't have access to all of this abundance, like free energy, free health, knowing all this stuff that we've been so stricken with all around the world. And this is what they're protecting, because Erik says what they say they're fighting for is not really what they're fighting for.
Wow. So the good portals are bringing abundance. That's bringing in Middle East oil, I guess, for one. And they have rare gems and all that kind of stuff, right? But there are bad portals too.
Well, there are some. Well, Erik says, yes, those portals, yes. He says, yes, you can say there's bad portals. And
or energy tears, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that feels more right, energy tears. Yes, that is there, and that is these people who are on top of it, like no more, you know, I don't know what you'd call those people. They're just
people in the know.
Yeah, and what happens, Erik has shown me that consciousness is expanding, and they feel this, so they're like having to crunch everything. But I don't feel like Israel is as innocent as they're making it out to be either.
Yeah. Okay.
I just don't feel that.
Yeah,
I feel like both sides.
You said the same thing to Erik. You said the same thing to Ginger.
Yeah, so, they're both button heads. They're both button heads on.
Yeah. Yeah. So the energy tears, I can imagine that after so much bloodshed and wars, etc., that there's a lot of energetic tears in the land. And through that comes all sorts of bad, non-benevolent interdimensional things, etc., that are probably contributing to the conflict. Is that true or false?
Erik says that's true, because now you get it activated in other places. But then you get stuff activated, that hate and anger with people there on both sides, because they don't even know the truth. So they're getting hate and anger going and fear because of the end result of what everybody's doing to each other.
Yeah. Okay. Will there be acts of terrorism in other countries because of this war?
Erik gives me a feeling. I get a chill. As a matter of fact, I get yes.
Okay, yes. I can imagine. You know.
Yeah.
Why the common spread across multiple nations? So much hatred toward the Jews.
Well,
or they were allotted from the UN in 1948. Allotted the land we now call Israel. Why? so much hate?
Erik says
Kill
because
Jesus? What is it?
I know Erik says there's a lot of untruths that have been told for centuries about Judaism, the Jewish Israelis, or I don't know the proper word to call them. Sorry, y'all. But there's been a lot of untruths being hidden and not being told. And when I say that, Erik is really wanting me to say he's not saying that anybody is 100% innocent.
Oh yeah, no, of course not.
Yeah.
Why is there so much or is there, first of all, anti-Semitism on university campuses? And there's so many protests going on. And in Sydney, they're saying they're chanting "Gas the Jews." Why is there so much in these areas that are supposed to be the birthplace of diversity and tolerance and all that? And
well, Erik says this is a good example of this igniting, like the tear, the energy tear. This is igniting that, and then you get these younger people who aren't afraid of stuff because he says they get a lot of information on YouTube and they get this stuff going. And he says, and this kind of stuff just gives the energy to start talking.
Yeah.
He says talking shit because they don't really know. They're not well adversed in what they're talking about.
Yeah. But it's not like Islamophobia doesn't happen, but it just seems like in college campuses, maybe I'm wrong. There tends to be more anti-Semitism. It's just weird.
Well, he says because that's how they he says it's a place where they
learn
start. Well, he says it's like they're just uniting. He says it's nothing different than back in the 60s, and you get a bunch of them protesting, the young kids protesting. It's kind of the same thing in a different way, but it's like they pull people together, and it's like they kind of like, hey, we're going to have this speech tonight. There's going to be giveaways, or we're offering food or something, gathering, to bring people in to talk about this. Yeah.
It's almost like
there's an attraction.
Yeah, it's almost like young people want some sort of cause, want a sense of belonging to a group.
That's it.
Or cause. Yeah,
that's it.
Okay, why won't Israel agree to a two-state solution? I didn't know that they didn't. The Jewish people know what it means to be persecuted, so why would they want to perpetuate that hatred and animosity on the Palestinians by making them live under military control and in extreme poverty? And so one of the Palestinian people have uprised against them. Oh, that's probably one of those that are on the campus. All right, so I don't know what to say about that. I thought they did
why won't
a two-state solution. I thought that's why, well, you get the Gaza Strip and maybe I can't remember. And we could skip this if you want, because I don't know what to make of it, because I don't know enough. But Erik, you want to say anything?
Well, he's showing me where this is a good example of not all truths are being told. So I feel like the Israel side is holding back some of the truths about why they're not doing things.
Okay.
And their thoughts, they're doing it because it's we're keeping the fence closed so the dog doesn't get out. Erik has given me this and I don't even know why I can't
analogy,
think. Analogy. But that's not the real reason. They're telling people that, but this is some more of that stuff going on, he's saying.
Some other stuff going on. Margaret,
it's about control about stuff. It's control.
Control, greed, power, money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Margaret Thatcher said that there will never be peace in the Middle East until Israel gives up land. Is that true?
Erik says pretty much yes. Erik says yeah. And
So it's the UN's fault in particular for just like it's like I've told through Ginger. It's like if somebody came to us in Headwood Village, my little in 1 square mile village that I live in, and said, "Sorry, you guys are out of here. We're going to have the people from Westview. They get all your land." So it's almost like that, and that's what the UN did. So I'm wondering if the United Nations is to blame, at least in large part.
Erik says there is some blame in there.
Yeah.
There is. Mm-hmm.
What was it? It's just virtue signaling. They just felt guilty about the Holocaust, and they felt like that Israel was owed something. But then that just created more deaths. So I don't know.
Well,
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
yeah. Well, Erik says, you can't make up for what was done during the Holocaust. You just can't. You can't make that up because nothing is going to replace those lives.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, there are some things that, yes, that could have been given back because it was wrongfully taken from people, and Erik's flashing art in front of my face or just property or something like, yes, give that stuff back. But so with that, I just feel like instead of like giving somebody back their piece of art, they gave them
Property.
20 million, yeah, property, or they gave them whatever, something, $20,000. And I'm just giving that as an example of how Erik showed me the way he's shown me. It's like we just gave them something and said, here you go, just so you will shut up and here, this makes it all better. And we went about it, or I say we as in people went about it not in the correct way. And we knew what we were doing. When we did those things, we knew what we were doing. And again, when I say we, Erik is talking about the people who did that knew what they were doing when they gave those things.
Yeah. Wow.
And it didn't settle anything.
No, it made things worse.
Yeah.
That they probably didn't know what this would perpetuate into, did they? I mean, not completely.
No, I don't get like they knew like this was going to happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. But Erik is showing me it never felt right to them, and so they never were okay with it all.
Okay. So what's source's opinion on this whole conflict, Erik, or source?
Erik's going like this. He's going with his pen, like, let me go check. Like he has a reason to go talk. Like he's like, I get to go. Erik is saying to me, source and other beings are like watching and gonna let it play out to a certain level, and then there's going to be intervention. Erik says it's kind of like when people have kids and their kids are arguing and they let their kids argue and fight it out to see if they can resolve it. And then when it gets to a certain level, because Erik is saying you used to do this when the but then at a certain level you would then interject, and this is what's going to happen. It's going to get to a certain level, and then there's going to be interjection. There's going to be a coming in like that, and it's going to come in waves. Is what he's showing me. It's going to come in waves, and I feel like we'll really see some big waves over the next 5 years.
Okay. Is this the beginning of the new earth shifting, Erik? Just a yes or no.
He says yes, it is. It is.
Does Hamas regret its plan to kill Israelis now that the Palestinians face a humanitarian crisis?
No.
Okay. Will any of the hostages be rescued? I know that some have been already, but
they're a playing card, Erik says,
yeah.
so it's a playing card. They're a playing card, so they're using it to their advantage. But also, too, when you ask about Erik says, I feel like they're also, from how Erik has shown me, they're like, okay, well, maybe we should have went this way instead of that way.
Oh, yeah.
But they really wanted to make a statement. And I feel like their initial attack was extremely well planned. It wasn't a
They've been planning
coincidence.
for 2 years.
Okay, because he says they showed me it was well thought out. They knew exactly where they were going and the time and everything.
Yeah, and the leaders, the main leaders, are in Qatar. The cowards.
Yes, yeah. Well, of course. And this is
Their
the thing.
palaces and whatever. It's terrible.
And Erik says, and this is what the people who are doing the attacks, half of them don't even know the truth of why they're attacking. They're told one thing.
Yeah.
They're thinking they're doing it because, Erik says, because you did all these inhumane stuff. But what they don't realize is that isn't even a true story. So they don't even really know why, but
What
they
is the
think
true story?
Well, Erik says it's all about, well, Erik says it goes way back. And I feel like there's a lot of anger, if you want to call it that. I feel like you could say more rage. It's all about, like, Erik says, this is how stupid it is. It's about, you embarrassed me in front of a bunch of people, so now I'm going to pay you back.
Wow. All right.
And so this is what they do.
The 100 million the U.S. is giving to Gaza for humanitarian aid, is it really going to go to the Gaza people, the innocents?
I don't feel like all of it will go there. No.
Well, some of it?
Some of it will, yeah.
Okay, like 10%, 20%, 30%?
I get more like 40, 50% will go to them.
As a collective, this is the last question, can we be guided in prayer for peace for the whole world, like a script for all to pray together at a certain time of day? Would that work?
Erik said it would definitely work, because he said, if everybody, let's say 80%, he says 80% of the people, well, now he's changing it. If all the people who are wanting the peace and all of this to stop, because not everybody wants it to stop, which is neither bad or
well, there's no wrong,
right. He's just saying, but let's just say 80% of the people who want this, if we all paused and at the same time and held the meditation for 10 minutes, held, and prayer, whatever you want, whatever it is for you, that is going to be like a jolt to the energy, because when we're all it's just helping consciousness to expand even more in that wave that it's just going to overcome. It's going to change things. Erik says it makes a huge difference.
Well, is this a contract, spiritual contract for the collective? Probably numerous ones, right?
Erik says it is numerous. It's numerous. So he says it's too many to name.
What's the main contract, the main lesson here?
Erik said right away, Erik said to love ourselves.
Oh, yeah. To love each other or ourselves?
Ourselves, because if we love ourselves, we're not going to act like assholes to people.
Ooh, I like that. All right, that's it. Erik, do you want to say anything else before we close?
he says, we need to get this going. We need to get this going. He says, we need to get this going. He's showing me how he's going to be bumping some people to get this going on Facebook and any other social media, because this thing catches on,
Yeah.
and the other groups will start this. And so he says, we need to get this going. And I feel like he's going to be
Nudging people.
Yeah, I feel like the way he's showing me, poking them real
Okay.
hard to get people going. And I feel like there's going to be some people on channeling Erik who are going to feel that nudge to get it going.
Awesome. I hope so. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
me
thank
too.
you. I love you, Denise. I love you, Erik. I love all you guys out there. Be sure you check Denise's link out. Just click on it in the description box below and share this with people so that maybe we can get a community that will help instigate this.
Yeah, really, absolutely.
All right. Love you.
Big hugs to you. Love you too. Bye.